We're getting into the meat and potatoes, which is the screen printing part, and also the breakdown of all the other forms of decorating a t-shirt. And the screen printing one, as you can see, this is a really complex design. This isn't something that a beginner could do, but I want to tell you a little bit of history on that design and also how long it's been up there. I mean, because it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's something that that actually I got from one of our customers. This goes back to 2004. Wow. When we were dealing with this particular customer, and it's a 9-color job. So to put that in in perspective, remember that in screen printing you need a screen for every color. So then the size,
we're going to teach you that. Yeah. Don't worry.
So to get to a 9-color print, you have to have a machine that's large enough to handle that. So not to go too deep into details, this particular design, like T said, it's very complex. It has a lot of halftones, and it also has a lot of shading going on. So all of that are techniques that you have to combine mesh count and the ink type in order to achieve something like that. And obviously everything begins with Photoshop or Illustrator. So then that's the other half of the coin that we need to kind of get into, and we're definitely going to go over that so you guys can know what that's about.
Yeah, don't get scared when he says Photoshop or Illustrator. People get scared about that. Yeah. We're going to teach you the basics that anybody could go ahead and put something on a screen. You don't get scared at all, because Mario is a beast at doing that, so don't worry. So now we're going to jump into DTG.
So if you were to draw a line between all the different methods of decorating, screen printing is the oldest method in history. This goes back thousands of years when people started silk screening, and the Chinese actually were the first ones to actually invent that. That's what they called it, silk screen, because they used literally silk to be able to screen print that. Nowadays everything is called screen printing rather than silk screening, but that's how that got started. But that's a very manual process, and automated nowadays with the automatic equipment that's available. But technology has always tried to come into the market, and that's where DTG comes in. So now we're dealing with a printer that basically just prints directly onto the garment. And there's obviously limitations on that. We could go deep into that. I'm just going to lightly say technology hasn't gotten to the point yet where everything is 100% foolproof. So there are always issues, and the main issue here with DTG is the volume. So what happens with production with the screen printing process is that you do a lot of production of the same design. Here we're going to basically customize a small quantity of shirts, a handful of prints, and it does take a long time to get them done. And the cost of the ink also, and the investment of the equipment doesn't allow you to really do volume printing. And that's where the difference here comes in, where it's not something that's going to take away from screen printing. I think, if anything, DTG, I don't know if you agree with me, it's actually something that could be added to your business. Yeah. And you could run alongside of screen printing for jobs that require...
For that small job.
Exactly.
I remember when I first started, I started with that machine. So I had that machine, and it was an order for WMC, and the order was like 300 shirts. It was only a 1-color print front chest. It took me 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks to get that production. I mean, it was incredible how long it took. So we don't want to let people know that this is a slow process. That's going to take like 7-8 minutes just to make that one t-shirt. Mm-hmm. So you can't compare screen printing to that, but it does help as a supplement to your to your designing, because you don't want to turn anybody away either.
There you go, and that's where this fits in perfectly nice. Now, again, we're not going to put down any process. We're just going to talk about limitations. So the limitations that every process has. Screen printing's limitation is that you can't do 6 shirts. You can't do 10 shirts.
Oh no, it's a waste of time.
It's too much of, a waste of a time. But from here on, technology takes over, and now we're able to do smaller runs. So smaller shops, when they start out, they may be looking at a DTG as an option. And I don't want to discourage the DTG purchase. I'm just simply want to make sure that everybody understands how much you'd be able to do. And maybe that carries you through the initial portion of your endeavor, and then eventually you implement screen printing just like you had to do.
Yeah,
and so that's basically what we're here to talk about. Limitations and advantages. That's really where it's at.
All right, so let's jump into sublimation, which for the fishing people in the fishing community, that could be, and that usually is, the go-to form of printing. But again, we're limited on colors. Explain that.
So
why.
we're limited with sublimation. We're sort of, we're limited to polyester materials only, and luckily everything obviously on the water is dry fits, and so dry fit materials are the ones that are going to be used, for screen printing. I mean, for sublimation. I would say that it's a very little investment: printer, paper, ink, and a heat press. So it's a very simple process once you get started. It has its little areas of complexity, but that's something that you can navigate through for sure. I would also say that in regards to sublimation, you can also do many other things. There's a lot of promotional products, like you've done mugs and you've done pens and you've done a bunch of other things that you could do. Tumblers now are very popular, water bottles, all that kind of stuff. So just keep in mind that just like DTG, there are limitations with the type of material. Just like DTG is only good for cotton materials, well, sublimation is the complete opposite. It's only good for materials that are polyester. So, yeah.
Right. So so now jumping into, which is the white toner and the DTF.
And the DTF and then to close the last step it would be vinyl materials. So everybody's familiar with HTV, which is heat transfer vinyls, right? Everybody knows that it's a one color at a time process. Very tedious when you're doing that stuff. However, if you wanted to do something that has more of a gradients, and you don't have the ability to do screen printing, or in the fact that you don't have a DTG, a lot of people have implemented what they call a white toner printer, which is basically an Oki or a Uninet printer, which incorporates white as one of its colors. So now the transfer comes out literally ready for you to press, and then from there you're able to basically just press it right onto the garment. Has no limitations on the particular fabric. It could be cotton, it could be polyester, 50-50, no issues there. The only issue that we've run into that is the durability. So obviously it gives you beautiful colors, it gives you great complex.
How many washes, more or less?
So about 35 washes is the durability on that. And some people find that to be a little bit limited, but that's unfortunate. That's something.
What about DTF?
So DTF it's a completely new process right now.
Right.
So DTF is basically a wide format printer like the one you're standing next to right here. And then basically what you're doing there is you're printing on a film.
Right.
That's why it's called DTF, because it's direct to film. And then you're printing on the film, and afterwards you're applying what they call a transfer adhesive powder. And then that powder is what gives it the durability in the wash. Over here, the adhesive of this ink that came out of the printer, it's actually applied by transfer. So what you have is you have a very thin layer of adhesive. Over here, you can control how much adhesive you're laying down. So then now the garment could be stretched. It could be lycra, it could be spandex, it could be a number of garments.
I used it.
Yep.
And it worked really well. And it was good because I only had the client came to me and he's like, I need all these colors. It's like a UFC fight, MMA, and it was one of the fighters, and the guy wanted all these logos on there. It looked like a billboard.
Yeah.
But that's what he wants. I'll print it. Correct. And that's the only option that will work, because if I had to screen print that, it's the whole day to do 10 shirts. It's not worth the time and money that we put into it. So it really helped out. It felt good. It looked good.
And it is durable. It is durable.
Yeah, so
it was far more durable than the white toner for sure. When it comes to technology, every piece of technology has a price tag. Right. And then it's really, at the end of the day, what we want to be able to talk to them about is that return on the investment.
Right.
So when you look at all these different technologies, and you've gone through some of these already yourself, you can speak from experience, and you could say, did I get my money back on my DTG?
Right.
But then again, that might not be the case with a white toner printer.
Right.
Maybe your market allows you to have 35 washes durability. And if so, this is a very low cost option versus $30,000 on a DTG.
Right. Well, going back to the DTG is the reason why I wanted to make that switch to screen print, and I had no idea how to screen print.
Yeah.
And when I went and made that investment, was because I was tired of people coming up to me and saying, the white isn't white enough on the black shirt. I'm like, what do I do? You could only put so much ink on it and it just wouldn't work. And then it fades a little bit. It's not as, it wasn't what screen printing would provide for me. And I decided I need the screen print because that's where the money's at. And thank God that we decided to do that, because it was a game changer. And there are a few things that you need to learn, because it's not just putting the shirt on, on a machine and it just starts printing. It's a little more than that, but it's not that difficult.
Absolutely.
And we're going to show you how. Trust me, this is going to be exciting, how to show people how to start with their Cricut or their Cameo, cutting their vinyl, and then, I want to get to the next step, or, let's level up.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. It is. I mean, to watch people growing and arriving at a place where they're comfortable in their business and making the money that they envisioned that they wanted to make. So it's great to be a part of that journey, and that's why I'm thankful that you actually brought this on for us to do.
I mean, I think we need to bring it out to the world, because what you've taught me needs to be shown, and now I could teach this as well, because I have some insights that you don't have, and I think it just works out perfectly. Now people are going to get the best of both worlds and really be set up for that next step of creating that screen printing company and starting their journey printing.
Absolutely.
So I think now we're going to show you how this all starts. The first thing that we're going to do is we got to go into Photoshop. We'll also show you a little bit about Illustrator, show you those processes. And also, if you don't want to do the investment in Photoshop, there's some other free tools that work like Photoshop.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to invest the time, effort, and money into your business, invest into Photoshop, invest in yourself, learning another skill, which is not that difficult to do, and you could you don't have to plateau. You could reach that next. Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
It's like anything. When you start your business, you want to open a delivery business. Do you want to borrow your truck from your cousin? And then what if your cousin's busy and you can't make that delivery? So it's inexpensive to start that way. But until you spend the money seriously into your business, then there's no stopping you at that point.
It's like what one of my favorite speakers says, Grant Cardone: invest in yourself, invest in your business. Forget about real estate, forget about all that stuff, and put the money back into your investment, and you could do your own investing. You control your own destiny, you control your own money, and you could be as big as you want because you control it. You don't have somebody else or the stock market or somebody else controlling it.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%.
I agree 100%.